Hello, welcome back to a sit-down chat with Matthew Pullan. Today I am joined by Victoria, who I met a few weeks ago, and today we're going to talk about support for teenagers. So, hello, Victoria, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you.
Good. Would you like to tell everybody a bit about yourself?
So I'm 21 years old, and in October 2020, I was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. And after a CAR T-cell transplant in March, I am now in remission.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Well done. I'll just start off the CAR T-cell transplant. I've read a little bit about it, and I'm sure everybody else would like to know. But do they destroy your chemotherapy first?
Yeah, I had a few cycles of chemo, sort of in the months leading up to it, and they weren't satisfied with the results of that. I was having drugs like vincristine and cytarabine.
Yeah.
They felt they had the least risk and potentially the most success, which it did.
Good. And I'm sure you went through with your doctor all the risks and stuff.
Yeah.
When they're discussing the risks with you, it doesn't really pass your mind. It's like, I want this to happen because I know this will help me. So you kind of miss the risk.
Yeah, you kind of try and block it out.
Yeah.
Because you kind of feel like you don't have a choice anyway. You have to get better, so you kind of just have to try and ignore the risk as much as possible because it's only going to freak you out.
Yeah. I remember discussing the risks, obviously, because it was on my brain. And I was just like, if I don't try the surgery, what's the point?
Yeah. And it gets scarier leading up to it.
Yeah.
As well.
I totally agree. I remember the first, so when I got admitted to the hospital, I remember how scared I was that night.
Yeah.
But they give you time to overthink it. I mean, they should obviously give you time, but they give you too much time.
I know. Yeah. They're like, we're just gonna leave you to yourself now. Let us know if you need anything, and you're sat there alone.
Yeah.
In a hospital bed, just completely in over your head.
Because it is very lonely in a hospital, isn't it? I remember the night before my surgery, so I was left at about 10:30, and then they came in about 12 to do my obs. Then I was dropping off about 1. Then a porter came through and woke me up because I needed a CT scan. And I just remember, it's the lack of sleep that gets to you more than the actual being in the hospital.
Yeah, it does. I remember I didn't sleep for about, I think it was 22 hours straight.
Yeah.
And I was just like having a meltdown, and I was on the phone to my mum because it was during a period of COVID when they weren't allowing visitors.
Yeah.
And they brought the night nurse in, and she was like, okay, we're going to give you a sleeping tablet. And it knocked me for 6.
Yeah. I mean, we've spoken before, and you said you were on a teenage cancer trust ward.
Yes.
Yeah. How you've also been on like an adult ward.
Yeah.
How's it different?
There's a difference between the way the nurses treat you, I think. Not that there's like a good or bad difference, just in their sort of approach, because
Yeah,
the nurses on the TCT ward are experienced with, people age 15 to 24,
yeah,
and I feel like the nurses on the adult ward, they're not used to that. They can be a little bit more blunt
yeah,
and a little bit less tender,
totally agree.
because we're at that awkward age where you're not a child, but you're not an adult, and so
Yeah.
you still need that gentleness.
Yeah. I mean, I was 17 surrounded by adults. I was like, why am I here? But I was there because I had nowhere else to go, because children wouldn't accept anybody over 15.
Yeah.
I just remember, although there was a lot of adults around me, I felt lonely, like I had nothing in common with them.
Yeah. Being on the Teenage Cancer Trust, sometimes I'd have to go into the bay where there was 3 beds in there, and I made friends with other girls.
Yeah.
Who and you heard what they were going through as well. Like, it wasn't great to be woken up at 2 with vomiting noises coming from the bed over, but aside from that, it was nice because you didn't feel so alone.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean,
there's always, even if you weren't talking, you could hear each other.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of wish I had the opportunity, because,
Yeah.
for example, I only know like you and a few other people my age who have or are going through cancer. And it's like, it's tough when it's labeled as such like an old disease.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, I wish that all young people with cancer could have the level of support that I've had from the Teenage Cancer Trust.
I mean, I had no Teenage Cancer Trust support until I started, was it radio or chemotherapy? So a very long way down the line.
Yeah.
I kind of wish it was there more.
Yeah.
You said, we've spoken before, and you said you were moved to an adult ward.
Yes.
What did you find were the big differences between you being in the TCT ward and the adult ward?
Well, for starters, you weren't allowed out of your room.
Yeah.
And they were much smaller rooms. Everything from the food, the beds were different.
Yeah.
TCT, there was tellies in the room. You could leave the room. They had like quiet rooms. They had a reading room. They had a social games room.
Yeah.
There was a kitchen. You could go and put stuff in the fridge. Adult, they didn't have anything like that. They're like, well, we can put stuff in our staff fridge, and you feel bad for like an inconvenience for getting them to go and put things in the fridge. And I liked the independence that the TCT would give you.
I mean, I remember just I was put into a room by myself so I could see my parents, because I was 17 and it was during the pandemic. And all I can remember was not seeing many people, not being allowed to do much, just in my bed until my parents came. Then I was allowed outside with my parents. But it feels like you have no independence.
No. And when I was on the adult ward, I mean, obviously COVID makes a really big impact on that level of freedom that you have when you're in hospital. But I think that even if it wasn't for COVID, then you're not allowed. You wouldn't have been allowed to wander around the adult ward.
I mean, I kept getting in trouble for getting up and walking about. You feel like you need to get up and walk about after being in bed so long.
I mean, you're not supposed to be confined to a room, to a single bed. It's not natural.
Yeah.
It's a natural instinct to want to do something. And I liked on the TCT wards, some of the people who were staying there would just go up to the nurse's desk and sit with them and just talk. Everyone felt like friends there.
Yeah. Well, that's when you move over to the adults. It's like everybody's a single person.
Yeah. Whenever I go onto the day unit on the TCT, because they're one and the same, and I would walk in, and Anna, one of my favorite nurses, she's Greek, and she, "Oh, Victoria, it's so nice to see you. How have you been? Oh, I love you." And it's like,
are you even allowed a favorite nurse nowadays?
Well, I have lots of favorite nurses, to be fair.
Yeah.
But she's one of the ones who stands out in my mind.
Yeah, I always found, like, when I went to radiotherapy, although the adults, it's like the receptionists, no matter where they are in the department, are always the nicest because they take the time to get to know you a bit.
Yeah.
Like, even when I go to appointments and stuff, that receptionist I've known pretty much all my life. So
when they know you, that's when it can make a difference.
Yeah, but if I don't, it's like weird because you just sat there like everybody. There's like, it feels like there's an elephant in the room.
Yeah.
And do you go to any specialist cancer? Like, I go to a young oncology unit at my hospital. Do you have one of them at your hospital?
I don't think so. We just have child, teenage, and then adult. So I go to it's just the hematology and oncology department, which is where I go to see my consultants, for clinic appointments and things. Anything else like blood tests and COVID swabs and all the rest that go up onto the day unit.
Yeah. COVID, someone doing a COVID swab for you isn't the nicest, is
it? No.
I remember before my surgery, I went to get a COVID test because we didn't have all these like tests we could get now. I went to get one, and I remember feeling like my nose had exploded after she'd put it on my nose.
Yes, it always makes me sneeze.
But I go to a specialist ward, like not ward, department for people my age. I particularly find it hard. Like, I had an MRI scan the other day, and you're like the youngest in there by about 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
It's the same with radiotherapy as well. It's like, there should be a separate room for us or separate times.
Yeah. It can make you feel like the odd one out.
Yeah. And no one speaks. It's like, you've all sat there for the same reason, but no one will speak.
Yeah, I mean, obviously our experience is a little different, but I do feel that when I'm sat in a waiting room. It is full of the elderly, and I almost feel like, what did I do to end up here? What have I done wrong?
I mean, I found it hard in the MRI room the other day, and you know, I'm the youngest one here by a long way. It's like, what have I done? Like you said, what have I done to deserve to be sat in a room with these?
Yeah. I mean, and even if they can't have like a separate room for younger people, they should at least have someone you should be allowed to have someone with you.
Yeah. I mean, the hospital I go to will allow a parent in, but once you're through to like the MRI scanners, no one's allowed in. So you're waiting in a different waiting room by yourself. So it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
I do find that part hard of going through cancer, definitely.
Yeah.
I've been lucky enough to meet people like you and other people, but it's not like we go to the same hospital or anything.
No.
One of my friends that I've also had on this podcast, Liam, he goes to the same hospital as me, but I think he turned 50. So there's a big age difference.
Yeah.
And I've got 2 oncologists, and one of my oncologists is adult, and he has that same oncologist.
Right.
I've got one that's pediatric and one that's adult. So you do wish for a bit more clarity sometimes.
Yeah. Do you get conflicting information from different people, from different doctors?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Some doctors don't work together. Like, you should be working together, but you're not working together. I've been lucky enough that mine do work together, but before diagnosis, I had a pediatric doctor, and he was, because I've had cancer in the past, he basically said it's never coming back. And then something came back.
Yeah, they shouldn't just make promises that they don't even know.
Exactly. It's not like he wrote it. He wrote it like, I thought, or I said that it probably won't be coming back. Whereas to us, he said it's not coming back. And these people are working with children as well.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps because you were young and he didn't want to worry you or burden you, but if that was the case, then he should have at least had a private discussion.
I was 15 or 16. I understood fine. And then the next time I go to the hospital, I get diagnosed. What a man.
That's just rubbish.
Yeah. I actually sometimes get really annoyed at him because he knows who I am. I know who he is. He completely avoids me. All eye contact. It's like, because obviously I put complaint in. You don't say that.
No.
You don't say that to anyone. So put a complaint in. And yeah, I don't see him, but I see him like in the clinic, just walking about. And I want to say something, but it's like, and just don't be so arrogant about it.
I guess it feels that you've got like sort of unresolved feelings with this guy, and you need sort of just some kind of discussion so you can put it to bed for yourself.
It's just the fact that he's working with kids as well. That's what I find the hardest. What's he gonna say to like parents and stuff? Is he gonna give them a false sense of hope as well?
Yeah, we can only hope not, I suppose.
Yeah, and it's just hard to see him because you're like, once you said that, I knew something had happened. Like when I found out I had cancer again, I was like, I'd already thought I was gonna have it, or thought that I had it.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, I've just been diagnosed on the spine as well. It's like I knew I had it.
I think when it comes down to it, you yourself are the person, you know your body best.
Exactly.
And so if you feel there's something wrong, it's because there is something wrong.
Yeah, it's like both times I did really well on the neurological assessment, even the consultant saying this is the best neurological assessment I've seen. But every time he's done a precautionary scan, it came back as you've got something. It's like I know that I have it, and it doesn't show.
Yeah, that reminds me of when I had meningitis the week before Christmas just gone. And you know, it was 3 days of this horrible intense headache, and it wasn't until that my fever started to spike like really, really high that they finally paid attention to me, because I was saying for like 3 days, like, I need strong pain relief, there's something wrong, you know, this isn't a normal headache, no, I'm not prone to migraines, maybe there's something wrong with my back, you know, or my neck or something. And you know, I think meningitis is like swelling of brain fluid and things. And it wasn't until my temperature got to like 41 that they moved me into a isolated room and gave me a PCA. And but the doctors, like, I kept having different doctors coming and seeing me like 3-4 times a day during the day and night, and I'm asking me, so what's the matter? And it's like, oh my god, just read what the other doctors wrote down. I have to re-explain it over again. And it's like, okay, well, we're going to discuss this and then see what we can do. And it's like, it's so frustrating to the point where anyone who wants to come and talk to you about it, you just snap at them.
Like, you just think, just give me a scan or something. Just check.
Just do something rather than just talking to me.
I mean, I've had a temperature that high, but I never went to hospital. It was like I was on chemotherapy. And then they say when you get a fever and stuff, go. But I was tired and I needed to sleep. And hospital is not the place for sleep, is it?
No, it's not.
So I had it was like I had COVID on chemotherapy. So I honestly felt like I was dying. My brother was panicking because my temperature was 41 and I was just like, I'm cold. But then I didn't want to go to hospital because I wanted to sleep.
When you feel rubbish, you want to be in a place where you feel comfortable and safe. And I always find that being in hospital makes me feel very anxious.
Totally agree. No matter how many times you end up in, you still feel anxious about it because you're not used to it. But it is hard to deal with it. And that's downplaying it.
Yeah. I mean, when you talk about it to people, you say, yeah, it wasn't great. I had a really tough time. But then you can't sit there and go through every single thing that's happened and how you felt at every point of it, and then how much pain you were in.
I felt like I had to talk to someone on the phone or something just to keep myself occupied and to keep my mind from thinking you're lonely and stuff. I had to be, when I wasn't on like the phone or something, or if my parents left me, I would be there crying for like half an hour. You feel like no one's there for you anymore.
Yeah, it's so lonely.
Yeah, and I guess that's one of the positives of you being on a TCT ward. You wouldn't exactly feel that lonely.
No. I mean, I felt that loneliness in the adult ward much stronger.
Yeah.
When I was upset, whenever I was upset on the TCT ward, I'd have a nurse come in, she'd sit on the bed with me and she'd give me a great big hug and she'd sit with me until I, felt better.
Yeah. There needs to be a bit more care on like mental care rather than like physical care,
because physical care is all well and good, but when you get to the point where you're having thoughts of like, I got to the point where I just wanted to get up and I just wanted to walk out of there. I didn't have a plan. I was just going to leave and call my mum and say, I've left. Can you come and get me? Even though I was in the middle of really important treatment.
Yeah. It was like, after my surgery, I was like, I just want to get out. And because there was no services available here in my local area, I had to stay for an extra 2 days. It's like 2 days is like 2 centuries in a hospital.
Yeah. I mean, do you not have because I get access to hospital transport and they're usually available on quite short notice.
I I'm probably could be in touch, but I'm not because my parents just take me. So. Oh, it's it's fun being a young adult with cancer. That's what everybody's got out of this podcast. It's fun.
Yeah. I do my best to see the positives through the I mean, are we allowed to swear?
If you want.
Through the shit times, know. I remember the people who were nice and caring and the friends that I made.
Yeah. Which people don't have the opportunity to do that in hospitals.
No.
Thank you for coming on the podcast. Is there anything you would like to say at the end?
I just think that the support that I've had on the Teenage Cancer Trust should be available to every young person with cancer.
As standard. Yeah.
Yeah.
And is there anywhere we can find you to? You don't have to share if you'd like to keep it personal.
Well, I'm on Facebook, Victoria Nixon, and I'm also on Instagram. My handle is Tori Explores.
I'm just gonna say this on the podcast. She's been following me for ages, and I've only just realised it's her. Right. Thank you for coming on.
You're more than welcome. Thank you for having me.